are honored to have Matthew Gould as our first speaker today. Matthew is the Director General for Digital and Media Policy for the UK government. Matthew also served as Director of Cybersecurity and Information Assurance for the Cabinet Office. And prior to that, Matthew was the UK Ambassador in Israel, where hopefully he enjoyed some good hummus and some Israeli sunshine before coming back to the UK. Matthew will be speaking about keeping Britain safe in cyberspace and what the government can do. And given his unique perspective, Matthew's talk will definitely provide us with some new food for thought. Please welcome Matthew Gould to the stage.
Thank you. So I hadn't realized I was supposed to challenge something, but I guess if I'm going to challenge anything, it'll be this, the assumption that government gets this stuff wrong. And what I want to say to you today is I think the British government is actually doing some really exciting things in cyber. I want to tell you what they are and tell you why I think they're exciting. So my current job, having been ambassador to Israel, having been director of cybersecurity for the British government, I'm now Director General for Digital Policy, which means basically I'm looking after, from a government point of view, the UK's digital economy. I'm trying to make sure that our digital economy is as strong, as safe, and has the best possible future. And I know that one of the key things that will differentiate countries going forward will be the perception of safety in doing business online in that country. We all know the figures, we've heard them ad nauseum about the increasing levels of threats, the numbers of attacks, the cost of attacks, the commodification of the attack market. We know cyber is becoming a greater and greater problem. So countries that want to differentiate themselves, countries that want to win in the global race to become preeminent digital countries, need to show they are safe places to do business online. And that's the UK's ambition. And we've taken a hugely ambitious approach. We're launching a strategy. We've announced a program which is going to be a level of investment, from the UK's point of view, at an extraordinary level. Over the next 5 years, almost £2 billion worth of investment. And I want to tell you in particular about 4 things we're doing that I believe will help us fulfill our ambition to make the UK one of the safest places to do business online. Number 1, and it's very current because it's happening as we speak, we are standing up the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre. One place which will be the one-stop shop for business, the one place tasked with keeping the UK economy safe. And when I started as Director of Cybersecurity, the complaint over and over was there is an alphabet soup of different people saying they help business. There's this agency and that agency, and it's a mess. So there's now one agency which is the center of expertise, which has a umbilical cord to GCHQ as the preeminent center of technical expertise in the UK in cybersecurity. One center that will have desks dealing with different sectors that themselves will provide expert advice and support for those sectors. So the standing up of a National Cybersecurity Centre is a big deal, and a big deal particularly for British business or business based in the UK that will come under its protective umbrella. Number 2, talking about protective umbrellas, is we've made clear that we're going to be taking a rather more aggressive approach to defending cyberspace, defending the UK users of cyberspace. We're going to be adopting an approach of active defense, which I believe has the potential to make actually a rather impressive difference. So, for example, we are already adopting technical measures to make sure that anyone who is trying to spoof a gov.uk address, and we've discovered since we've started that there are a load of them, are diverted and defanged and don't do damage, and certainly don't do reputational damage to the legitimate users of the gov.uk domain, namely the government. And we're going to go further than that. There's one thing in particular which I think has an enormous amount of potential, which is this. So if your internet provider, if they're any good, will be blocking a load of known bad addresses, saving you from clicking on links which will connect you to sites the sole purpose of which is to infect your computers and mount an attack. Now, we've said, what about if we club together? What about if all the service providers, together with government, pool everything we know and, as a consequence, are able to provide a level of protection to users in the UK which is way beyond what any individual provider can do? That is a simple, straightforward, but very effective idea. Now, we're acutely conscious that this mustn't be a means of controlling or censoring the internet. So anyone who wants to opt out of this will, of course, have the right to do so. If people want to have their computers infected for whatever reason, that's their choice. But as a level of protection, it's going to be something new, something I think very effective. Third thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure there is a pipeline of skilled, talented, expert people coming into the cyber market. We are going to launch a series of very ambitious schemes. One of them, which I shamelessly stole from the Israelis, is going to be a national schools program where we're going to identify at 14 or 15 people who show real talent, provide them with after-school training, mentoring, coaching, projects, summer schools. So by the time they come to make their choices about what they do after school, they're already being funneled towards productive, worthwhile careers in cybersecurity, rather than the opposite, which can be careers in hacking and causing damage. But we're going to launch a national schools program. We're going to stand up national apprenticeship programs. We've already launched Cyber First, which is a big program that GCHQ run, and we're going to massively expand that. We're going to make sure that the UK has the skilled, talented cyber professionals that we need. And lastly, and I think this is most exciting, including from my new perspective, we're going to be doing everything we can to support the cybersecurity ecosystem in the UK. And we're already seeing, I mean, anyone who knows the UK scene will know that it has ballooned in the last few years. There is a momentum to it, there is an excitement to it, which I think is tremendous. You're seeing companies with fantastic innovation. You're seeing companies growing fast. You're seeing accelerators like Cylon develop. Things are happening in the UK, and I think it's tremendously exciting. But there are things government can do to help. Now, mostly, I believe the best thing government can do with tech is make sure that the problems are got over and otherwise get out the way and leave it to the entrepreneurs. It's not our job to pick winners. It's not our job to try and engineer the sector. But there are ways we can provide support, particularly in cybersecurity, because of the sort of particular quality of the market and what it is that people in cybersecurity are trying to sell and the hurdles they have to overcome. So we've looked at every stage of the process of growing a company, from inception, from the idea, to building a company, growing the company, and scaling up. And we've got interventions that we're going to make at each step of the way to ensure that the ecosystem in the UK is as strong as it possibly can be. From a scheme to help spin out innovation in universities, from a scheme to grow companies by selecting some of the very best companies and giving them wraparound support, everything government can do to support them, by setting up 2 innovation centres, one in Cheltenham next to GCHQ, one in London, that from using our own procurement, one of the biggest customers of cybersecurity is obviously the government. That's provides an enormous potential for the government itself to support British startups by being the first customer, by being the ones to help the startups over that initial hurdle. We're going to be doing all of this. We're going to be launching schemes to accredit new products so that companies, potential customers looking at cyber startups can know that the product is safe and the product works. So there's a ton going on in skills, in the ecosystem, in active defense, standing up the National Cybersecurity Centre. I believe the UK government is actually doing something rather exciting. And the scene here is exciting, the ecosystem is growing, and I very much hope that you'll be part of it, whether it's as investor, partner, startup, or customer. Thank you very much.